Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner Rack, and this video is going to be about the exit of Charles Xavier. Now, the sad part about his exit from the Uncanny X-Men title was that the readers cared nothing about his exit. The readers, if they cared, it didn't show up in the sales, right? And if you read in, I think, a couple of things, Chris Claremont wanted to get rid of Xavier because he basically could fix everything, even though his approach to Xavier was that Xavier was kind of making mistakes, having kids out of wedlock, overall a-hole from time to time. But something happened where when Chris Claremont got rid of Storm's powers, right? So we're not going to get through this whole issue of the X-Men versus Magus. It's not really a favorite of mine. But as you can see here, Xavier was moving into the leader spot. And this is why I think he ultimately had to go. Because his powers, if you look at the original series, a little too powerful, right? So you had this thing which was wacky for me. You had this great moment that John Romita Jr. had, whereas he was doing a seminar at Columbia University, and he gets accosted by these people. Now, it's one of those things, and I'm sorry to use this word, stilted, where he's going to have Xavier take on, and it's hard to say, once you turn the page, there should have been an ad here, so you get to see this. I wouldn't spoil it for you. But he's here, and regretfully, he didn't already stop them at this point here for the story to evolve. So it's kind of stilted, whereas you see the trail of his mental thing going and stopping these other guys, but a brick gets through. And this would never happen to Xavier in a wheelchair. It's just not cool to sort of do this stilted thing, and it's only to get rid of Xavier, right? And he basically, if you're going to do this, he should have just wound up dead right here, right? So he gets beat up by this mutant-hating mob because they think he's a mutant lover. But then when they guess that he's a mutie, and they waste him. And this is the classic aspect, but Xavier is a telepath. He can hear their thoughts. They can't sneak up on him. He's a telepath. They don't know to hide their what they're saying, right? So then he's got all this. It's a powerful scene, but it's kind of stilted because some of with Xavier's powers, like people say Spider-Man can't get hit, but somehow Xavier it just doesn't make any sense to me, right? All these nice things, but this is ultimately to get rid of Xavier, right? So if we go to this issue here, now as a kid, I think this swore off the X-Men until 200, so I didn't see any of the issues after that till years later, right? So in this issue, and Banshee in this issue is a prop, just sort of a prop. Doesn't say anything. That's the closest he gets to a line, similar to Angel when they first met the who's those guys? The Morlocks, right? So Xavier's here, and he's been saved by the Morlocks. And of course, they have a healer there, so he's like, okay, he didn't die. Then of course he's reacting to it because they put all this stuff on him, so of course he wouldn't be grateful, but he looks kind of weathered, right? Take some of that stuff off. He says he's grateful, and then he first meets the Morlocks. And this should be a very powerful moment. This should be a moment where Xavier finds his new calling. And Alan Davis did something similar to this, where there were Skrulls that had mutant powers, and he started to train them. Xavier should have stayed here because he's a supporting character. He doesn't need to be in the book every day. He could stay in the Morlocks, but they decided, nope, we got to get rid of him, right? So they talk about all the struggles the Morlocks has. He's here to help, but they said the healer's kind of overtaxed, right? And they found more dead. See how early we found some dead mutants? This is like, this is well over a year as far as not real time, but publishing time, right? So see, and Xavier's talking about that, but the Storm as a leader should have allowed Xavier to take over this thing and help them out, right? In some way, and use some of his money. So the rest of the story is just sort of Hellions versus the X-Men. It's not really that great. I don't think I warmed up to it. And Xavier comes back with Callisto, and they kind of laugh that he's got this outfit on. And he has to come out save the day. So instead of sending the X-Men out without them, but Storm breaks out already. So she was supposed to be on a trip before, but I guess it was because of what's that thing? When they had Kulan Gath. So then, of course, they got to save Banshee, and they want to raid Retribution. It's a really bad story because Banshee tried to save Thunderbird, so it doesn't really make any sense, right? So this has been taxing for Xavier, doing all this stuff, right? He does that, gets knocked out, right? So he really shouldn't be here. Banshee still doesn't say anything, he's knocked out. And this payback for something where Thunderbird's death was the cause of his own. Right, so the key part of the story is that the X-Men is already Xavier is too weak to do anything because he's been injured. It has to talk James Proudstar down. And we saw the issue. We know that Xavier is not Xavier's fault, that Thunderbird died. They're saying, well, if he hadn't come to that, he was kind of, Thunderbird wouldn't have died. But, you know, then he's wacky. He thinks he's a coward. Xavier wants to take them in, but of course, no. So, in the next couple of issues, I don't know that Xavier's doing much. But at some point, they decided that he's going to die. Let's look at this one. I don't know if Xavier does anything in this issue. He shouldn't. See, where am I at? Juggernaut's back. Nope, no Xavier. Ah, Rachel in the pantsuit. Check that out. I don't think, I'm going to quickly try to get through this. Should have checked to make sure. But see, see, there's no other issues with, oh, what's this, with Power Pack? Oh God, another Morlocks story. Damn storm. So, I think we're going to deal with these guys who attacked Xavier, right? This issue going to deal with that, right? So, Xavier's here. He hears a thought, but somehow he can't figure out who it is. That's ridiculous. I mean, they're just going too far, right? The art's always good, though. Oh, that's the damn Beyonder. Kitty used the N-word. I don't care how many times you use the muty thing. Kitty should not be using the N-word. All right. So we're skipping, as we showed you before. This is his exit, right? Cyclops here. This is where they established that Professor X is dying, right? Anything else in this issue? Xavier, no. So Xavier, they establish here Xavier's dying, right? We get to this next issue here. We went through it before. Magneto going through his thing. Here's Xavier, finished. He just somehow fell apart. Right, he's dying. There's a healer in the Morlocks. Storm don't say, hey, we gotta get you to the Morlocks to save you. And nobody says, hey, we gotta call Lilandra, right? But, of course, I think it was last issue. You know Lilandra's on her way. Yep, she's there. She's on her way, finally. Let's get to the end. And the stress of Fenris almost killing them. Xavier, Magneto saves them. And they have this poignant moment, which I complained about before. But hey, it doesn't matter, right? So we got through that. This is what I didn't do in my last video. X-Men back home, all happy. Only one destroyed about Xavier being gone is Cyclops. Look at them. They're just having fun. No thought of Xavier. He was just taking up too much space. Right? That's a nice moment. I don't have to worry about Xavier here. Here's Xavier. Yep, we're stuck in space for some strange reason. All right, we'll make the best of it. And they're playing baseball. They don't care. Hey, they already said Magneto's going to be the headmaster. It's over. But it would be 5 years before he came back. And then when he came back, what was the plot? The plot was to kill Xavier. The plot was for the Shadow King to become all powerful and take out Xavier. What kind of mutant story is that? Because Magneto is the guy that can continue to make mistakes as Storm did as leader. So that's the direction that Chris Claremont was taking. So this would ultimately be the exit in these 8 issues, the exit of Charles Xavier. And it was a sad thing that happened. It was even sadder reading that Chris Claremont wanted him to go. Spinner Rack out.